Hello, I'm Richard McPherson. I'm the Chief Instructor at Let's Ride Motorcycle Training, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to pull away and stop. So we've just started the bike, we've got our back brake covered, and the first thing we want to do is engage first gear. So to do that, we need to get our left foot up and push down on the gear shifter. Trouble is, our right foot's covering the back brake. So we just got to do a little bit of a juggling act here. So it's always worth keeping a brake on. So I'm just going to put my front brake on, then I can put my right foot down, and then I can get my left foot up. My toes are currently over the gear shifter, ready to push down, but I can't push down just yet because I need to pull the clutch lever in so that engine is not engaged to the gearbox. So the clutch is in now, and now I can push down, and it needs to be a firm push. Okay, firm push down, and then release the gear shifter with my foot. And if you push down again, you'll feel that first gear is rock solid. It's a very distinctive gear. It's the only gear with this much solidity, if you like, for want of a better word, underneath your foot. It's absolutely rock solid. So I'm definitely in first gear there. Now the thing is, now my front brake is on, which means my fingers are wrapped around that lever, which is going to make it quite tricky to turn the throttle. So let's just swap feet again. So left foot down, right foot up. So I've got a little bit of pressure on the foot brake. I can now release the front brake, and now I can just bring my fingers over that throttle, wrapping around the throttle, and now I've got full control over the throttle. Okay, so to pull away, now we're in first gear, so that's the gear with the maximum amount of torque but the least amount of speed. So it's the ideal gear for pulling away from a standstill. Now these little motorcycles don't produce an awful lot of power below 6,000 RPM. Now we don't want to go necessarily all the way up to 6,000 RPM here, but we certainly want more than the tick-over roads, which are currently sitting at about 1,700 RPM. That will go down a little bit once the engine warms up. The engine revs a little bit higher when it's cold, and then when it warms up, it'll just drop that down to around about 1,500. So we want to get a little bit of engine speed up, so just gently rotate the throttle to about 3,000. That's about right to pull away with. Now what I'm going to do is just going to start letting the clutch out slowly till I feel it biting. So look at my left hand now, it's just going out slowly, and then as soon as I hear it dipping, so there, I can just hear the engine just dip. So it's sucking a bit of power from the engine now, that gearbox. And if I let go of the foot brake, the bike is just going to very slowly edge forward. Okay, not a lot, just very gently. So if I let the clutch out any more than that, I'm going to go even faster. So let me just throttle off and pull the clutch in, back brake on again. So that is what's called the biting point of the clutch. So it's just when those plates inside are starting to engage, starting to transfer a little bit of power from that engine to the gearbox. So bring the engine speed up to about 3,000. Find the bite point about there. There it is. You can see the revs have just dropped there. The bike wants to move. You can feel it. If I let go of the back brake, you can see I'm just starting to roll now. And as I let the clutch out more, the engine starts to get even lower to a point of a stall. Let me just pop into neutral. So as that power is going on and the clutch is going out, the engine has power drawn away from it. So it starts to die, if you like. So we need to compensate for that by just increasing the throttle gently as the clutch is going out. So the whole procedure is throttle on, bite, clutch, and then start releasing the clutch smoothly as you're gently turning the throttle. So it's that action. That's what we're doing. Then to stop, we just power off and apply the brakes. If it's a slow manoeuvre that you're doing, just a bit of back brake will be fine. If you need to scrub off speed quickly, then get onto the front brake. Now this is probably the hardest exercise of the entire day if you're a brand new rider. So don't worry if you don't get this right off the bat. You'll be stalling it left, right and centre to begin with. Don't worry, it will just click into place and off you go. Now what I say to everyone is if it all goes horribly wrong here and you end up shooting off down the car park, all you got to remember to do is that. Okay, that is your emergency procedures, that. So it doesn't matter what the throttle's doing, you can be doing this, you're not going anywhere because that has disengaged the engine from the back wheel and that is stopping you. So if you forget everything else but one thing, make that one thing, that is what you're going to do. If you go down the car park, just grab those levers and you will stop, I promise. Okay, but hopefully that's not going to happen. You're going to do exactly what I'm telling you here for a nice smooth pull away. Okay, so let's try it again then. So front brake on, clutch is in, into first gear, back brake is covered, I can release the front brake. So a little bit of throttle, find the bite point, there it is, a bit more throttle to compensate, letting go of the back brake, bike's starting to move, bit more clutch, bit more throttle, bit more clutch, left foot goes up, bit more clutch, bit more throttle, clutch is all the way out now, and now I can just increase the throttle. To stop, throttle down, clutch in, bit of back brake, and then stop. Okay, I could have used the front brake there, but these slow speeds, the back brake is brilliant. The front brake's a bit harsh. For this slow riding, the back brake is absolutely perfect. Okay, so let's do it again. So bring the throttle up, get the clutch to bite. I can hear it dipping now. Back brake off. Bit more throttle, releasing the clutch smoothly, bit more throttle. I'm just going to turn the corner here. And then throttle off, clutch is in, bit of back brake. Oh, that's the lovely noise a drum brake makes. Okay, let's do it again. So throttle up, find the bite point, there it is, back brake off. Bit of more throttle, clutch is going up very slowly, very smoothly, compensating with the throttle, clutch is all the way out now, bit more throttle, then throttle off, we'll use a bit of front brake this time, bit of back brake, clutch is in, and then stop. Good, huh? Now then, we've got a sharp corner here, so, now this is where the clutch really comes into its own. We don't want to let the clutch all the way out here. We want to do it nice and slowly. So throttle up, get the bite point, back brakes off, a bit more clutch, but I'm not letting it all the way out. Look, I'm just holding the clutch there. So look, I'm at walking pace. I can use a bit of back brake as well, bit of back brake just to control the speed if I need it. Look at this. This is the clutch is out a little bit. Look how slow I'm going. Just a little bit of clutch, not all the way out. And then throttle off, clutch in, brake on. So what's happening there, if you remember back to the lesson where I was talking about what the clutch does, what's happening there, when the clutch is out a little bit, all those plates inside the clutch are still spinning independently of each other, but there's quite a lot of friction there. So there's quite a bit of energy getting through from the engine to the gearbox to the back wheel, but not all of it. So the bike is just going at a walking pace there. So your clutch is your best friend if you're just pulling away slowly, like on a sharp turn. A junction is a good example for that one. So really use that clutch. These clutches are fantastic for your slow stuff. And don't be afraid to really abuse them. The good thing with motorcycle clutches, they're very efficient at dissipating heat. They're what's called wet clutches, so all the clutch plates are submerged in oil, which is there to dissipate heat. So it's quite difficult to burn out a motorcycle clutch, unlike a car clutch, which is a dry clutch. Alright, so don't be afraid to use that. They are designed for a bit of abuse. Let's just do it again. So into first gear, up to 3000, find the bite point. Okay, there it is, and a bit more throttle, bit more clutch, bit more throttle, clutch is out slowly and out, and then more throttle. So I probably travelled a good 10 feet there before the clutch was all the way out. Let's try again. So throttle up, 3000, get the bite point, brake off, bit more throttle, clutch out slowly, compensating with the throttle, clutch is all the way out now, so throttle is now the primary speed control. Throttle off, bit of front brake, bit of back brake, clutch in, and then stop. And then we've got this sharp corner again, so a bit of throttle, bit of clutch, let go of the foot brake, just keeping the clutch about there. I can use a bit of foot brake here. Remember, we don't want to be touching the front brake in the corner, so the back brake's great for these corners where you need to scrub off a little bit of speed. Throttle off, clutch in. Okay, and that is how you pull away on a manual transmission motorbike. Right. Pulling away on a scooter is a very straightforward affair, you'll be pleased to hear. So we've got the engine running, the bike's not going anywhere. You've probably got the back brake on at this point, but if you're on a flat surface, it's not a big deal. The tick over revs are not powerful enough to get the machine moving forward. You need considerably more engine speed than this for this bike to start moving. So it's just a case of gently opening the throttle. So we've got our head up, we're looking forwards, and we're just going to gently roll the throttle backwards. The engine speed picks up, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, and we start to move, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, and then stop, we throttle down, front brake, back brake, and then stop. If it's a gentle stop, we can just use the back brake there. So let's try it again. I'm on a bit of a hill here, so I'm just going to come off the front brake, get that back brake on so I don't roll backwards. So this time, I'm going to bring the throttle on before I let go of the back brake. So throttle on, release the back brake, more throttle, more throttle, more throttle, more throttle, and we're off. And then power off. And I'm just going to use the back brake here to show you these kinds of speeds. You don't really need the front brake. Remember, your front brake is your primary stopping brake. Back brake is ideal for slowing down gently. Cold engine is just stopped on me, so let's restart. Okay, so we've got a sharp right hand corner here, so I'm not going to use a lot of throttle, so I'm going to bring up the throttle a little bit, not too much, bit more, bit more, bit more, looking to the right, turning the steering, keep the throttle nice and constant, and then throttle off, and a bit of back brake, and then stop. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker this time, which means I'm going to need to use the front brake. So back brake off, throttle, open the throttle, off we go. Throttle down, front brake, back brake. Just remember the front brake is way more powerful than the back brake, so don't engage it too much, okay? Right, so sharp right hand corner here, so gentle with the throttle. Let go of that back brake, bring the power up. Just hold the throttle constant. You can use a bit of back brake if you need it, just to control the speed. Full throttle now. Off we go. Throttle down. I'm not using any brakes at all now, look. And then a bit of back brake to stop. So the bikes will stop themselves eventually. The engine braking is pretty good on these bikes. So it's a gentle stop, you can just roll the throttle off. I'll show you that again. So round the corner. Let's see when I need the brake. So full power, off we go, and then off. I'm going to stop by that cone down there. I'm going to stop short though. Oh, no, gravity's helping me now. So a bit of back brake. Good. Cold engine. Okay, let's try again. Let's see how far I can coast this time. So, full power. Throttle off. And back brake. At a certain RPM, when it gets really low, it feels like the gearbox is disengaging from the back wheel completely, so you're freewheeling. Whether it does or not, I'm not entirely sure on this bike, but it just feels that way. So this time, let's see if I can get there without any brake. So off, let's see what happens. So the engine's still engaged, and it's not engaged now, so I'm just freewheeling now, so I'm like a push bike. Bit of back brake. There we go, nice and easy. So this time we'll do a late stop, so we're going to need to use a bit of front brake. So full power, and throttle off, front brake, back brake, and stop. Let's try that again. Round the corner, going to go full power. It's going to be a very late stop now, and power off, front brake, back brake, squeeze the front. And there we go, nice smooth stop. So remember, when you're stopping, first thing you do is always power off. Always power off. Now the first few times you do this, it may get a little bit confusing. Just remember, if you lose control of the bike, which is difficult on a scooter, but if you do, don't panic. All you got to do is just grab the brakes. Doesn't matter what the throttle's doing. You can be full throttle, as long as those brakes are on, you're not going anywhere. So if I open the throttle, I go, oh my god, I'm out of control, just grab those brakes. I mean, ideally get that throttle off. It's always throttle off first, but sometimes your thumb can go that way and just turn that throttle. So if I've got the throttle on, put the brakes on, see, I'm still stopping. An engine will never overpower brakes. So you can have full power on, the brakes will still stop you. But ideally, throttle off first, then brakes on. Okay, so just do that again. Ready? Throttle off, brakes on. It's always the front brake first when you're scrubbing off lots of speed. That's your primary brake. If it's a gentle start, you can use just the foot brake. So throttle off, front brake, back brake. Throttle off, front brake, back brake. Throttle off, front brake, back brake. Squeeze, stop. The scooters are great fun, I love them. Yeehaw! Throttle off, front brake, back brake. And let's stop. Front wheel parallel to the cone now. And that is how you pull away and stop on a scooter.